Yes, Democrats lost big on Tuesday, but there was another big loser, George Soros. I feel bad for him. Kind of. President actually hopped onto a conference call with MoveOn.org, one of Spooky Dude's shady operations. He must have been celebrating something. I don't really know, but you know what's amazing? If you look at how much money this billionaire is spending to try to get his agenda jammed through, man, George, you could call the 2010 election a failure on the Soros front. I don't mean to be harsh, but I guess he's kind of feeling the effects of his own orderly decline of the dollar. Greenbacks just aren't going as far as they used to, huh, Georgie? Don't you feel bad? You know what's amazing? The more we expose on this program about how this whole system operates, the more we show how progressives like this guy just funnel money around and to influence policy and elections, you know, like through the Tides Foundations and stuff like that. Man, the more we show how these guys are just enriching themselves with power and money, the less powerful the spooky dude becomes. It's weird. It's almost like sunlight is the best disinfectant. George, here's the thing. We're going to have to go over, just because I don't mean to rub salt in it at all, but I just would like American people to know how Spooky Dude fared around this time all around the country. Secretary of State project. This is great. He started this after Catherine Harris stole the 2000 election. And he's like, Secretary of States, they've got a lot of power, no? Yes, yes. And so when there's something going on, let's say, I can't think of an organization that might, you know, organize, you know, people into voting and just shady. Anyway, let's say there's some shady goings on someplace. Well, Secretary of State has to decide, is this good or is this bad? What is it? Do we do a recount or not? So Spooky Dude would like to control them. So how did the Soros-backed Secretary of State fare in the election? Success? Uh-oh, failure. Republicans won 17 out of 26 races, 6 of them offices from Democrats. Republicans now control 25 offices to Democrats 22. Soros also backed a measure that would put control of redistricting back into the hands of the state legislature, which would have helped the Democrats redistricting. Uh-oh, failure again. George, it might get too painful for you to watch. Soros also led the charge on a proposition in Nevada on retention of judges. This is a great idea. Judges would be appointed instead of voted on. I mean, let's get rid of the pesky voter. Uh-oh, Nevada said, sorry, Spooky Dude. His group, MoveOn.org, desperately tried to get Alan Grayson reelected. Oh, Alan, who's going to have to spend more time with her family? You are. And it was George Soros who would lead the charge on California's pot legalization. $1 million in a smoke pot. You must have been smoking some, George, because even California said, sorry, dude, total bummer. Can't go with you on the pot thing. Gee, I don't know, Wally. When Mom and Dad get home and they see how many F's we have on our report card, they're sure gonna be upset. Maybe we shouldn't tell them. Oops. Well, Spooky Dude, you know, it's really kind of sucks to be you right now, because not only have you had all these failures, I don't think on this program it's going to get much better for you, especially next Tuesday. Ooh. Thank you for making this the best-selling book in America last week. broke. It is the book that I put together. It took us over a year. I think I met on an ongoing basis over the last year with 34 experts in every field. There's 50 pages of notebooks. This is, or I mean, fine print footnotes. This is the book that you can give your children or your grandchildren, or you can read. We meant this to be something that you would use as almost a handbook. It has the answers in it, the answers of, then what do you do? Well, one way you can, one thing you can do, I guess you can either play above board and be out in the open, or you can play like Spooky Dude. I just pointed out George Soros, and he had a tough election cycle. I want to thank Mark Hemingway at the Washington Examiner for helping us put all this together. A for effort, Spooky Dude. Seriously, George. I mean, you just pour money down the drain into cutesy little progressive groups. I mean, why spend so much time and effort funneling money around all these pet projects that are supposedly designed to help people when you could just skip the middleman and just go right straight to the people who actually need help? But while he's been busy dumping money down the progressive drain, things are falling apart around him. After hundreds of billions in bailouts, Freddie Mac lost $4.1 billion in the third quarter. Union members keep pouring the money into unions, gang. They're showing signs that they're turning on progressive leadership as well. Why? Because they're being exposed for who they are. In Ohio, nearly a third of the labor vote went to Republicans in the governor's race. 45% of union households supported a Republican for Senate. In Pennsylvania, 44% of union household members voted for Republican Pat Toomey. It's a scam, and people know it. And we're going to keep exposing it. And it'll keep falling apart on them. Because the truth will always set you free. George, really, pick up the book. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. You can get this, and it has all the answers. And of course, it'll set people free, which is, won't enrich you. You know what this is, George? This is like the Death Star. And I think you said in one episode of Star Wars, you said, oh, and I promise you, this Death Star is fully operational. It is. 40 days before 8/28, I told you we had a choice, and I asked you to take the 40-day and 40-night challenge, a blueprint for national survival. You'll find it at glennbeck.com. It'll help you figure out who you are, who we are. What is it you believe? Are we still the Americans that our grandparents would recognize? I don't think so. We're bombarded with the message that we can't take care of ourselves. We're not capable. We're too stupid. You can't let them make the decisions. Why? I don't buy it. Our grandparents made the decisions. They were no smarter. My grandfather only had a 4th grade education. Look how many people came out last Tuesday night to vote. These are the people that, oh no, they can't make a difference. Really? America heard voices, and those voices said, yes, I can. You have a choice. You're going to be a part of the problem or part of the solution. I want to introduce you tonight to a man who's chosen to be a part of the solution, making a big difference in his town because he believes, yes, I can.
In every state, every city, every town, there is a George Bailey. His goals are not fame, fortune, or self-promotion, but something much more important, to bring together a community. In Covington, Tennessee, that man is Ben Baker. Ben's a retired crop dust pilot. And he could spend his time on the golf course or just hanging out, but he wasn't ready for that. You see, there was something missing in Covington, Tennessee, and Ben Baker was the only one to see it.
After meeting some American heroes that's come back from Iraq and Afghanistan, I almost felt inadequate and that I had to do something to satisfy my soul.
So for the past month, Ben has been getting up early and installing flagpoles before homes on his rural road. He feels that way every man, woman, and child in Covington can see the stars and stripes when they look out their window.
Once I put that first flag up, I couldn't stop. What better company looking at that flag could you be in other than God and country?
Ben does all the work for free. It's strictly voluntary.
I'm just giving back a little bit. This community's been very good to me.
To restore these values to his town.
I think that it's important to focus on the core values that we all believe in and that we all share. And to me, that commonality is the American flag.
And to honor his friend.
The motivating factor behind me doing this flag project was meeting Greg Stubbe.
Greg Stubbe, a decorated Special Forces Army sergeant, a good friend of mine as well, and a real American hero. Greg was severely injured by an IED in Afghanistan in 2006 when his Humvee burst into flames. Shrapnel sprayed through Greg's leg, thigh, and intestines. He wasn't supposed to survive, but he did. His story of courage and strength is unlike any other.
His devotion to this United States and our country is just a thing of beauty. He just goes about his daily life, changing people's lives and not knowing it. What spurred me to do this project was to say thank you to Greg and all the warriors, present and past, that's helped keep Old Glory flying and the tradition that we all have come to know.
Ben hopes to take the project now on a national scale.
My goal would be to have an American flag in every yard of every citizen in the United States. Get out and show your patriotism, put a flag up, and be part of the good America that we all are.
Ben Baker, one man in one small town who found the George Bailey within himself.
I've got more satisfaction out of doing this project than anything that I've ever done. We have speckled the hillsides with some beautiful flags, and I'm proud of it.
Will you find the George Bailey in you?
You have to see this at glennbeck.com. There is a story about these two kids. That's supposedly Sarah Palin, and that's me. Halloween costumes. We interviewed their dad. glennbeck.com. You have to see it. And on tomorrow's program, an event happens, and it's 13 days to global meltdown and 15 to the New World Order. A show you do not want to miss tomorrow from New York. Good night, America.